Thank you all for coming, or thank you for staying. Appreciate it. Graycliff is a very simple story. I helped take it public in August of 2019, so it's a very new company. It's a very simple story. We've got a brownfield site that has gold, and we're finding more gold almost every day. We have the Baldwin project, which is a greenfield site that has the same type of geology, but has never been explored for gold. We think with the two of these projects, we have the makings of a new Ontario gold camp 80 kilometers west of Sudbury, right on the edge of the basin. We've got an all-star technical team. We've got Bruce Durham and Don McKinnon Jr. Bruce, of course, for some of you who know the mining side really well, was one of the co-discoverers of Hemlo. And we have a very tight structure, and we're cashed up for the 2022 season, so we're not trying to raise flow-through or anything at these prices, thank God. Shakespeare is, as I say, our main one. So the Shakespeare is an interesting one. It's in that prolific Canadian shield. It's in an area of huge amount of deformity and faulting and folding, and we're pretty excited to be exploring there. It's called, the mine was only in operation for 3 years, and the miller was the original prospector. He literally found a nugget in a vein at surface that was 250 ounces per ton in 1903. They literally sank a shaft by hand and mined the vein for 3 years. So when you look at our property, you can see we sort of go from the southwest to the northeast, and there's a mineralized trend, which is that yellow strip that you see in front of you. We've focused our drilling in that one tiny square where it says area of recent drilling. And this is because we knew there was more gold in the area of the shaft, and we're looking to find more in that area. So we see this property as having a lot of potential. This is actually from hole 21. We're pulling the core out. As we're splitting the core, we're finding these big chunks of VG in the core. So we knew we were going to get good results. But the property is full of a lot of this. We're probably hitting VG in 10% of our holes, which is really unusual. We're just finished an airborne geophysics survey, and we believe that'll show us some really new and exciting targets. So we're pretty excited about that. But the real guts of what we've done, if you can see on this slide, there's a green section. That's from 2 holes that were drilled in 2014, which were the first people to actually look in the area of the old workings. And both of those had reasonable grades. So we went back and we've now we've released 39 holes. We've got 54 holes drilled. And we're in the middle of logging some of the more recent ones. But as you can see from the grades we're getting, when you're getting 5 meters of 8.6 and 16 meters of 16 grams, and that's at a depth of 90 meters. So we get all the way down to 200 meters. At 200 meters, we're getting 2 meters of 20.5. In the hole just to the side of it, we had 3 meters of 46 grams. And then below that, we had 5 meters of 46 grams. So these are big numbers to be getting, and they're all accessible. But one of the things that sets this property apart a bit is the fact that this shaft is at the top of a cliff. So the roadway is actually the same as the 4th level of the old mine workings. So you could easily ramp down on this efficiently. But one of the other things that's interesting about our story is most of the gold is free gold. It's not tied up in pyrite. The stuff at surface is actually, we've got a couple samples from surface when we were doing the channel sampling, 158 grams over 0.7 meters. And it was all free gold. And there was lots of VG in that. It was quite impressive. There you go, 137 grams, apologize. And we also had another channel that was 54 grams and another one that was 15. So these were all right at surface. What we were trying to prove was that we had a continuous ore body from surface to 250 meters, and we now have that. We'll do some more channel sampling this year, especially once we get the results of the geophysical survey. I think it'll give us a really good shot at some new targets. But you can see if you look to the right-hand side of the slide This material is highly sericitized. It's been folded, faulted, it's been ripped up, and where we get this gray-blue quartz, we're getting really good results. So we're pretty excited. So as I said, we've done 7,000 meters. We've actually done close to 10 now. The average length is about 150 to 200 meters. We've got 2 rigs on the ground. The geophysical result or survey results or interpretation should be out in about a couple of weeks, and we're really excited because in addition to finding new targets on Shakespeare, we did the survey over both pieces of the ground, so we now have good targets for Baldwin as well. When you look at Baldwin, you can see what I mean by doing the geophysical survey over both. The blue lines to the west are Shakespeare, and the black is Baldwin. So these properties basically touch each other. We picked it up because when we did the due diligence on Baldwin, we found that we had the same geology, and no one had ever explored it for gold. After the Second World War, it was explored for uranium because of that big uranium rush. And we picked it up because we really like the look of it, and we think it has the potential to add a lot more gold to our portfolio. So there'll be regional work done there. We'll also do field sampling, and we'll be going out and doing some drill testing of the geology to see if it is actually as good as we think it is compared to Shakespeare. So I've been in the business for 35 years. I'm a geologist. I spent time as a mining analyst back in the 80s, and went on and did corporate development, put a couple of mines into production in Central America and South America, and we're pretty busy. I've got a good team, great management team. I've got an excellent technical team in Bruce Durham, and as I mentioned, and Don McKinnon Jr. All of our guys, including our drillers, some of our geologists are shareholders. And I think that sets us apart from a lot of other companies. Our all-in cost per meter is definitely below the current average. Our base cost is $95 a meter, and our all-in is around $220. So we're keeping costs in a good spot. Because we're all shareholders, we don't spend a lot of money. We tend to try and preserve cash to the best of our ability. And so we're actually able to ride through this wave that we're currently all suffering from. I'm sure you've heard all day, and I won't talk about it. So the structure is really simple. 30 million shares. We're trading at 23 cents today. We were as high as 60 cents before this current crush. We trade on the CSE. We're also on the OTC QB and in Frankfurt. About 30% is owned by management and strategic investors. Nobody's really selling. We don't trade an immense amount right now, but when we were doing a little bit better, it was about volume. So it's a very simple story. A beautiful Shakespeare property with a lot of VG and a lot more drilling to go. Open at depth, only at 250 meters. The Baldwin project, which we think has a lot of potential. And we think with both of them, we'll have the makings of a new Ontario gold camp, which will bring more people to the area. Strong team, and everyone is a shareholder, along with anyone who comes in. So we're all looking at it from the same point of view. We firmly believe that Graycliff is undervalued and fundamentally very undervalued. We could have as much as of an average grade in the sections that I showed you as could be 8 to 10 grams. So we're pretty excited about it, and we think there's a lot of upside here. So thank you very much for your time, and we hope you all become shareholders of Graycliff.